CIET NCERT presents AudioBook, Exploring Society, India and Beyond, Textbook of Social Science for Grade 7.
Chapter 11, page 229, From Barter to Money, quoting John Maynard Keynes, 20th century economist. Quote, "The importance of money flows from it being a link between the present and the future." End quote. There's an image at the middle of the page. The image is of two farmers in a field, dressed in traditional clothing, pouring grains into large sacks. In the background, there's a hut and tall crops, suggesting a rural agricultural setting and barter system. Figure 11.1. The big questions. First, how did exchange take place before money? Second, why did money come into existence? Third, how has money transformed into various forms over time? There's a QR code at the right side of the page. Clicking on this QR code will take you to additional information about this chapter. In the theme, Tapestry of the Past, you read about the crops that people grew, such as food grains or goods they made like carnelian beads. How do you think they exchanged these goods for things that they needed? Page 230. People exchanged goods or services for other goods and services. This system is called the barter system. How did this work? Suppose you need a pencil and have an extra eraser. Meanwhile, your classmate forgot to bring their eraser, but has an extra pencil. You could exchange your extra eraser for the extra pencil that your classmate has. Wouldn't this satisfy your and the classmate's needs? This is how the barter system works. Today we use coins and notes to buy and sell things. People also use their mobile phones and computers for such transactions. The term barter system is highlighted. It is a way of exchanging goods and services without using money. The barter system was the earliest form of exchange. There is a lot of evidence of it from around the world. People use commodities such as cowrie shells, salt, tea, tobacco, cloth, cattle, cows, goats, horses, sheep, seeds, etc. The term money is highlighted. The common tool that everybody accepts and uses in order to make or receive payments in exchange for goods and services. The term transaction is highlighted. It is a piece of business that is done between people, especially an act of buying or selling. The term commodities is highlighted. Products or goods that can be traded, bought, and sold. Figure 11.2.1, Stone money. Giant discs of rock called rye stones were used as money on the Yap Island. In the Pacific Ocean, country of Micronesia. There's an image on the right side. In the image, there's a large stone disc labeled as stone money, rye stones used on Yap Island, Micronesia. Figure 11.2.2, the Aztec copper, tajadero, Spanish word for chopping knife, was a form of money used in central Mexico and parts of Central America. There's an image on the left side of the page depicting a copper tool. Figure 11.2.3, Tevau, red feather coil made from birds' feathers, used as money on the Solomon Islands. At the bottom right side of the page, there's an image which is close-up of coiled red feathers. Page 231. Why do we need money? Let's explore. Imagine that you are a farmer and that people use a barter system where you live. You need a whole variety of things: a pair of new shoes, a sweater, and medicines for your grandmother, but you only have an ox that you can spare. How would you be able to exchange the ox for all the different things you need from different people or places? What difficulties are you likely to face? For one, you would have to find someone who needs an ox. Now, swapping your ox for a pair of shoes would hardly be a fair exchange. You may have had to go through a series of exchanges. For example, find someone to exchange your ox for several bags of wheat. You would then have to transport all that wheat to several places. First, find someone who's willing to exchange a part of the wheat for shoes, another person for the sweater, and yet another for the medicines. There are 3 images on this page. In the first image, a farmer stands at a crossroad with a signboard pointing to medicines, sweater, and shoes. He has an ox with him, looking confused about where to go. In the second image, the farmer is imagining exchanging his ox for several sacks of wheat. The thought bubble shows the ox being traded for bags of wheat. The bottom right image depicts the farmer again standing at the crossroads, this time with multiple bags of wheat instead of the ox, still looking unsure about how to exchange them for the items he needs. Page 232. In each of these cases, a discussion would take place to arrive at the fair amount of wheat that you could exchange for shoes or for the sweater. You would have to take the leftover bags of wheat and find a place to store them safely. The next time you needed something, you would have to carry the bags of wheat with you again. There are 4 images on this page. In the top left image, the farmer stands in a shop with his ox, likely trying to exchange it for medicines. An elderly man is present behind the counter. In the second image, the farmer offers a large sack of wheat to a cobbler sitting in a shoe shop, trying to barter wheat for shoes. In the third image, a bubble depicts the farmer imagining trading wheat for a sweater, shoes, and medicine, wondering if it's equal in value to his ox or not. He is feeling totally confused. In the last image, the farmer carries a heavy sack of wheat on his head towards the storage area, showing difficulty of storing and transporting leftover wheat in barter system. Think about it. What are different types of difficulties you encountered in the above situation? In the situation above. In the farmer's story, imagine he finds someone who is willing to trade a pair of new shoes, a sweater, and medicines, all in exchange of his ox. Page 233. Do you think it would be easy to come across such a situation? Just like the farmer, people who depend on the barter system would face many problems in making an exchange in their everyday lives. They would have to find someone who wants the exact item that they want to give, and in return are also able to offer exactly what the other party wants. This scenario is called double coincidence of wants. Even if there are two people who want each other's goods and are also willing to make an exchange, other issues could arise. In what proportion should the two goods be exchanged? In such cases, it becomes difficult to compare the value of one good against another. If one of the people feels that the exchange is disadvantageous, they would not be interested in the exchange. This is because there is no common standard measure of value. The term double coincidence of wants is highlighted, an economic concept that describes a situation where two people having something the other wants and can exchange them directly. The term common standard measure of value is highlighted, an agreed upon worth for a transaction that helps in determining the value of goods and service in the economy. Divisibility. The term divisibility is highlighted, the capacity of an object or material to be split into pieces or portions. The term portability is highlighted, the ability of an object or material to be carried or moved from one place to another. Similarly, you cannot exchange only a part of the ox for a sweater. This is the problem of divisibility. Taking the ox everywhere is a problem and leads to the problem of portability. You solved part of the problem by exchanging the ox for bags of wheat, but you cannot store the wheat for long. It would rot and get eaten by rats. Thus arise the problem of durability. Page 234. Think about it. What are the different ways in which money would make the above situation easier for the farmer? Don't miss out. Although money has replaced traditional barter systems all around the world, there are some that still exist today. One of them is the Joonbil Mela. Joon means moon in Assamese and Bil means wetland. A 3-day annual socio-cultural fair at Joonbil in Morigaon district of Assam. Interestingly, the Mela begins with the Agni Puja or worship of fire, a prayer for universal well-being. Beginning in the 15th century, the chiefs of Tiva, Karbi, Khasi, and Jaintia tribal communities of Assam and Meghalaya would gather every year to discuss political issues and to maintain friendly relationships. Members of these communities begin to gather around this event, and soon it turned into a fair, where people would bring their produce and begin exchanging them among each other. The term durability is highlighted, a trait of an object or material that indicates its longevity and ability to withstand damage, due to which it can be stored for a longer time period. There are two images on this page, figure 11.3 and figure 11.4. In the first image, close-up of hands involved in a barter system exchange, possibly trading traditional food items or handmade goods during the Joonbil Mela in Assam. In the second image, people are sitting in a group actively participating in barter system by exchanging goods at the fair, showcasing community gathering. Page 235. This continues to be an important socio-cultural event even today. Bartering begins early in the morning with the trade of local products such as roots, vegetables, fruit, herbs, and spices. Also seen at the fair are handmade goods and artifacts. made from natural materials sourced from the forests of the hilly region. These are often exchanged with people from the plains for rice cakes and other types of food that cannot be grown in the hills. There's an image at the top right side of the page, figure 11.5. It depicts hands exchanging local products like turmeric and dried fish, representing the continued practice of bartering fresh produce and spices at the fair. Point 1. Book exchange. Think of a fun club where you can trade your old books with friends. It's like a treasure hunt for stories. You bring books you have read and pick new ones from a big collection. For example, you might swap your exciting jungle adventure book for a friend's mystery story. It's a cool way to discover new adventures without spending any money. There's an image at the right side of the page, figure 11.6. It depicts students exchanging books in a classroom. Point 2. One common example is the exchange of old clothes for new utensils, a practice that has persisted over the years. In this system, a vendor visits homes, offering households new utensils or the other household items in return for their used clothes or fabrics. Page 236. This exchange benefits both parties. Households get rid of items they no longer need, while vendors collect materials that can be resold, repurposed, or recycled. There's an image at the top left side of the page, figure 11.7. It depicts two women exchanging old clothes with new utensils. Let's explore. The illustrations above depict some of the ways in which people practice barter today. Have you observed similar practices in your locality? What are the types of experiences people have in this process? Basic functions of money. It is said that necessity is the mother of invention, as the types and numbers of things that were being exchanged grew and the distances across which barter was beginning to take place became longer, it became clear that there was a need for a different system. A common medium of exchange would make the trade easier, and so money came into existence. As more and more people began to use it for transactions, buying and selling goods and services, it became the accepted method of payment. As we have read in the farmer's story above, he could not store the wheat for long, as it would rot or get eaten by rats. There's an image at the bottom left side of the page, figure 11.8. It depicts a group of rats happily eating and playing around a large sack overflowing with grains in a storage area. Grains are scattered on the floor, and the scene suggests loss or damage due to improper storage. Page 237. If the farmer uses money instead of wheat as a medium of exchange, he can keep the money for a longer time and use it for making purchases later. So money acts as a store of value that can be used later. Isn't it fascinating? Money also serves as a common denomination that measures the value of goods and services and enables the comparison of goods and services in terms of their prices. For example, your parents pay money to the shopkeepers in exchange for various products. This money is used by the shopkeepers to pay salaries to their workers. The workers use the same medium to buy everyday essentials and other goods, pay their children's school fees, etc. There are three images at the middle of this page, figure 11.9. In the first image, a family is buying groceries from a shopkeeper, paying money in exchange of goods. In the second image, the shopkeeper is handing over money as salary to a worker, showing the use of money as payment for service. In the third image, the worker is now using the money he received to buy educational material for his daughter, accompanied by his wife. Think about it. Suppose you need to buy a book. You have rupees 50 in your pocket. You visit the bookshop in your neighborhood where the shopkeeper tells you that the book is worth rupees 100. What options do you have to buy the book today? Will you request the shopkeeper to allow you to make the rest of the payment later? The fact that money is accepted as a way of making deferred payments makes money a standard of deferred payment. Page 238. The journey of money. Let's explore. Look at the timeline given here. What are the changes in money that you observe? Coinage. As presented in the timeline, coins were among the earliest forms of money. During those times, rulers would issue coins that were used by the citizens of their respective kingdoms for transactions. So different kingdoms would have their own coinage. The minting and issue of coins was controlled entirely by the rulers. Over time, the coins of the powerful rulers were accepted across various kingdoms, and not just their own. This facilitated trade across geographies. The coins were made from precious metals like gold, silver, and copper, or their alloys. They were called karshapanas or panas. They had symbols punched on them called rupas. The term minting is highlighted. The process of producing coins. A mint refers to a manufacturing facility that produces coins that are used as a nation's currency. The term alloy is highlighted. A metal made by combining two or more metallic elements. This makes the coin strong. There's an image at the bottom of the page, figure 11.10. Evolution of money in India, a broad timeline. It depicts the progression of money over time. 6000 BCE, barter system was used. 1000 BCE to 600 BCE, cowries shells were used as money. 600 BCE, metal coinage made of iron, silver, gold, and copper began. 1861, official paper money was introduced in India. 1980, digital money such as debit cards and credit cards started being used. 2016, UPI, Unified Payments Interface, came into use for online money transfer. Page 239. Does this word sound familiar to a word we use for money today in India? Don't miss out. Point 1. Is it not interesting that variations of the word pana continue to be used in Tamil, Telugu, and Malayalam as panam and in Kannada as hana for money? Point 2. Alloys of silver and copper were used to mint coins. The coins we use today are also alloys consisting largely of iron. They contain other materials like chromium, silicon, and carbon in precise proportions. You will learn more about alloys in your science lessons. In ancient times, the two sides of the coins, the head, obverse, and the tail, reverse, had different kinds of symbols and motifs. Engraved on them. These included nature motifs like animals, trees, and hills, and those of kings or queens and deities. For example, the coins of the Chalukyas had a Varaha image, avatar of Vishnu, on one side and decorated three-tiered parasol on the other. The term obverse is highlighted. The side of a coin or medal bearing the head or principal design. There is an image at the bottom of the page. Figure 11.11. Coinage from Chalukyas of Kalyana featuring Varaha avatar of Vishnu and royal parasol. Silver coin showing tiger emblem of Cholas 1850 to 1279 CE. In the image, there are gold and silver coins with different humans and animals engraved on it. Let's explore. The coins depicted in figure 11.12 were found during excavations in Pudukkottai in Tamil Nadu. Their heads embossed are those of Roman kings. What conclusion can we draw from such a finding? Page 240, figure 11.12, Roman gold coins excavated in Pudukkottai, India. There is an image at the top of the page depicting gold, round coins engraved with human figures and faces with inscriptions around the edges. The use of coinage helped boost India's maritime trade with the world. For example, they were found in the parts of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. This throws light on the trading activities of the southern India with the rest of the world. Based on this finding, scholars concluded that the trade was in favor of India. Don't miss out. 1 anna was equal to 1/16 of a rupee. In 1947, 1 anna could buy a dozen bananas. There's an image of coins at the middle of the page, figure 11.13. It depicts the Indian coins 1/2 anna 1942, 1/4 anna 1918, 1 anna 1943, 1 paisa 1945. 1 anna is slightly irregular round and dull bronze or golden in color. Quarter anna is round, dark brown coin with heavy text detailing. 1 anna with flower-like edges, yellowish bronze in color with decorative patterns and inscriptions. 1 paisa is round with a hole in the center. Today we see coins of different sizes, as described, for various denominations with both Hindi and English used on each coin. Special coins are also minted to mark important events for the nation. Don't miss out. The rupees sign was adopted by the Government of India in 2010. It was designed by Uday Kumar from the Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, Mumbai. The symbol is a mix of the Devanagari R and the Roman R with two parallel horizontal stripes running at the top representing the national flag and also the equal to sign. Page 241. There are two images at the top of this page, figure 11.14. First, coinage today representing 1 rupee, 5 rupee, 2 rupee, 10 rupee and 20 rupees coin. In the second image, there's a coin with symbol marking India's 75 years of independence in 2021. Let's explore. Organize yourselves into groups of 5 students each. Take up a group project to collect old coins from family members, neighbors, shopkeepers, and so on. Document their various features. What are they made of? What is the year inscribed on the coins? What do you observe on the obverse and reverse sides of the coins? What can you guess from your observations? How would you know if your guesses are true? While the barter system used non-metallic money as discussed, coinage that is metallic money gave way to other forms of money. Paper money. Let's explore. What do you think happened as coins began to be used for all types of exchanges, whether to buy vegetables or to buy some land? What problems could have come up? As you have imagined, it became difficult to carry a large number of coins. Storing the coins also became a problem. The search for a more suitable alternative ended with the use of paper money. Page 242. Paper money or currency was first used in China and was introduced in India in the late 18th century. Currency. The term currency is highlighted system of money that is used in a particular country. For example, coins and paper notes that are used in India in terms of rupee is the Indian currency. There is an image at the top of this page, figure 11.15. Uniface notes of Bank of Bengal left and 10 rupee note from the Bank of Bombay, source RBI. The image gives examples of Indian currency notes. These are old notes from the Bank of Bengal and Bank of Bombay, including a cancelled note and a 10 rupee note. While coins are used for smaller denominations, paper currency is used for higher denominations. The term denominations is highlighted. Units in which coins and paper notes are classified, for example, denominations of Indian currency include 50 paisa, 1 rupee, 2 rupee, 5 rupee, 10 rupee, 20 rupee coins and paper notes of rupees 10, 20, 50, 100, 200, 500 and 1000. Today most of the currency notes can be observed through figure 11.16 paper currency today. In the given image, Indian currency notes are presented. There are old notes. These are the modern Indian paper currency notes of rupees 100 and 50, both front and back with Mahatma Gandhi's image and monuments on the reverse. Let's explore. Look at a 50 and a 100 rupee note. Can you identify the motif depicting India's cultural heritage on the reverse side of the notes? Find out more about them. Point 1. Feel the surface of the notes. What special features of currency notes help visually impaired persons to identify the notes' denominations? There is an image at the bottom right side of the page depicting a girl lifting the note in the light to check its authenticity. Page 243. Earlier in this chapter, we read that in ancient times, coins were used by rulers. Today, in India, we have a central authority called the Reserve Bank of India, RBI, that controls the issue of currency. It is not legal for anybody other than the RBI to issue currency. New forms of money. As time has progressed and technology has advanced, other forms of money have come to be used today. Let's look at some of them. Krishnappa sells seasonal fruit on a cart. Alongside the colorful fruit that he arranges neatly on his cart is a little card with a QR code. His customers scan the QR code, with their mobile phones and pay for their purchase digitally. The payment then goes directly into Krishnappa's bank account. There's an image at the middle of the page, figure 11.18. It depicts a lady making online transaction at Krishnappa's fruit shop. The term QR code is highlighted. It stands for Quick Response Code. These are collections of black and white squares which are readable by devices like smartphones and QR scanners. They contain information about the receiver's bank account and are used for making monetary transactions. Apart from tangible forms of money such as coins and paper notes, money has taken intangible forms that we cannot touch and feel. This is called digital money, which is in electronic form. Have you observed other people around you making or receiving payments without using coins and notes? Different payment methods like debit cards, credit cards, net banking, UPI, Unified Payments Interface, etc. are also used for transactions. These mediums directly transfer money from one person's bank account into another. You will learn more about the modern methods of monetary transactions later. Page 244. Before we move on. Point 1. The barter system existed before money came into existence. A variety of commodities were used to facilitate exchange. Point 2. The limitations of the barter system led to the development of money as a medium of exchange. Point 3. Forms of money evolved through time, such as shells, coins, and paper currency. This evolution continues as we create new and easier ways to make and receive payments, including the QR code that you saw in the illustration above, Questions and activities. First, how does the barter system take place? And what kinds of commodities were used for exchange under the system? Second, what were the limitations of the barter system? Third, what were the salient features of ancient Indian coins? Fourth, how has money as medium of exchange transformed over time? Fifth, what steps might have been taken in ancient times so that Indian coins could become the medium of exchange across countries? Sixth, read the following lines from the Arthashastra. An annual salary of 60 panas could be substituted by an adhika of grain per day, enough for 4 meals. 1 adhika is equal to about 3 kg. What does this indicate about the value of 1 pana? The fine for failing to help a neighbor was 100 panas. Compare this with the annual salary. What conclusion can you draw from the human values being encouraged through this? Seventh, write and enact a skit to show how people may have persuaded each other to use cowrie shells or other such items as the medium of exchange. Page 245. 8. The RBI is the only legal source that prints and distributes paper currency in India. To prevent illegal printing of notes and their misuse, the RBI has introduced many security features. Find out what some of these measures are and discuss them in class. 9th, interview a few of your family members and local shopkeepers and ask them their preferences in making and receiving payments? Do they prefer cash or UPI? Why? Page 246. Noodles. Noodles is our abbreviation for notes and doodles. Chapter 11 ends here.
Exploring Society, India and Beyond. You are just listening to this audiobook, Textbook of Social Science for Grade 7. Narration Mansi Chauhan. Sound recordist Ekant Vashisht. Assistance in production Muhammad Shamim Khan. Directed and produced by Vimlesh Chaudhary. This audiobook is brought to you by CIET NCERT, New Delhi, India.